What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for Bundesliga Week 22 predictions. Now, I just want to say we had an absolutely insane day yesterday over on the Patreon. So if you want access to all the exclusive members tips and accumulators, feel free to click the link in the description. I posted 6 ACCAs, 4 of them won for winning odds of about 50, which is just incredible. But I'll talk more about the Patreon later towards the end of the video. I just want to say another massive thank you for 54,000 subscribers. We are back with another week of action. If you did miss my Premier League predictions for tonight's and tomorrow's and Thursday's games, then please do check out the video from yesterday. But make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and leave your predictions down in the comments, and let's get straight in to the Bundesliga. We're kicking it off with some more Friday night football for Borussia Dortmund up against Mainz, and Borussia Dortmund was my highest odds pick of the week last week. I said Dortmund to win and both teams to score, and it came in. They beat Wolfsburg 2-1. Mainz beat Augsburg 2-0. I think I said Mainz to win 2-1 for that game. Let me just check to make sure I'm not lying to you. I did. I said Mainz 2-1. Okay, you look at the form and it actually looks fairly similar. Just the one loss for Mainz, none for Dortmund. One draw there for them against Eintracht Frankfurt a month ago. But Mainz, this is somewhat of a recent resurgence. It's the Mainz from last season that qualified for Europe that we're starting to see, rather than the Mainz that before this run of games were bottom of the Bundesliga. Now things are a little bit more exciting, with Bayern having a couple of slip-ups, a loss, a draw. Borussia Dortmund, with their incredible run, are only 6 points behind them. So whilst it's very likely Bayern win the league, Dortmund could potentially do something about it if they keep winning. And whilst Mainz are on a great one, three wins from 3, beating Wolfsburg, Leipzig and Augsburg, I think Dortmund is going to be a trickier test. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Borussia Dortmund. And I'm going to tip it again because I thought it was really good last week. The tip is Borussia Dortmund to win and both teams to score at odds of 2.87. I will say, as the channel has grown, obviously when you grow, you open yourself more up to criticism and haters, as they're called. And one criticism I sometimes get on my Premier League videos or even videos like this is that I go for safe picks. Now, the thing is, with a lot of these singles that I do in these videos, they aren't designed to be backed as a single. I enjoy betting in the way that means you create accumulators, trebles, fourfolds, that kind of thing. So I provide more conservative, safer picks with the idea of putting them in an accumulator, like the 7 safer picks I did for the Premier League that together made a winning 25-1 ACCA. Obviously, with something like Borussia Dortmund and both teams to score, that is more likely designed to be a single. But generally, I like to offer a bunch of different ideas for singles that you can take 2 or 3 that you like to make an accumulator. So that's why a lot of my tips tend to be lower odds. I hope that clears it up, but I think Borussia Dortmund are going to win this, and I'm going to go for both teams to score as what could potentially be a nice little single on a Friday night to get you started. But after that, we travel to Bayer Leverkusen up against St. Pauli. St. Pauli got the shock win of the week last week, beating VfB Stuttgart 2-1. Bayer Leverkusen drew with Borussia Monchengladbach 1-1. I think Leverkusen bounced back from that little blip, and St. Pauli suffer another defeat here. They're obviously still in the relegation zone despite that really good win. I'm going to go for another 3-1 win. And I thought the odds were really good. A potential accumulator piece, maybe a double, by Leverkusen to win and over 1.5 goals, because the odds are 1.7. And if you look at the odds of Bayer Leverkusen to win, the odds are 1.45. So you're going up 0.25, a quarter of a unit, just to say that it won't be 1-0. If Bayer Leverkusen win. I think that's a little bit of a discrepancy in the odds, a mismatch there. So I think just to say more than 1 goal to get a quarter unit is really good value. So I'm going for Bayer Leverkusen to win. After this, it is Eintracht Frankfurt up against Borussia Monchengladbach. Frankfurt, the favourites at home. They're winless in the longest time. Gladbach haven't won in their last 5 games. I think this is going to be an absolute goal fest. I looked at this. I wrote down 3-3. I'm going to go for 3-3. I then looked at the recent history. The last game between the two ended 6-4. So you never know. But I'm going to go for a 3-3 draw. The tip is both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. I thought about going for over 3.5 goals initially, but then I saw that the odds were 2.75. And I thought, wait, if the odds are that high for that, we can get some more value going a little bit more conservative. So both teams to score an over at evens is really good for a match that, like I said, between these two teams had 10 goals in last time. So I'm going for 6, 3-3, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 2. After this, we have Hamburg up against Union Berlin. Hamburg got a very good win last time out away against the hapless Heidenheim. Union Berlin drawing 1-1 with Eintracht Frankfurt. I initially thought about a 1-0 away win to Union Berlin, but I'm going to give Hamburg some credit. They're unbeaten in 4, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. And this is the highest odds tip of the video, a potential single. It's a full 90 classic. It's both teams to score and under 3.5 goals at odds of 3. So that's 1-1 or 2-1 either way, and I could see this going either way. After this, it is Hoffenheim up against Freiburg. The much anticipated game between Bayern and Hoffenheim took a bit of an anticlimactic turn when Hoffenheim got a red card within the first 20 minutes. They did still go on to then score a goal, but ultimately it of course ended 5-1 to Bayern. We did have 6 goals in that game from the last game week, but I predicted a 4-2 win. We did tip over 3.5 goals either way, but it was unlucky in the sense that Hoffenheim had to play the whole game really with 10 men. I think they bounced back here against Freiburg. Freiburg are in action tonight against Hertha Berlin in the Cup. I think they could probably win that. I think there'll be a lot of goals in that game. I think there'll be a lot of goals in this game. And I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to TSG Hoffenheim to bounce back. The tip is actually going to be Hoffenheim to win at odds of 1.75. I think that's pretty decent value for a home side that, with all said and done, they're sitting 3rd in the Bundesliga right now. Freiburg having a decent season, but Hoffenheim looking very, very sharp. After this, it's Werder Bremen up against Bayern Munich. A lot of red, a lot of green. Need I say more? 4-0 to Bayern Munich. Yes, Bayern could concede a goal. Yeah, they absolutely could, but I'm going to go for a 4-0 win. Bremen last time out losing 1-0 to Freiburg. Bayern, obviously, as I said, winning 5-1 against Hoffenheim. I think this is going to be a big Bayern Munich win, and I thought the odds were really good, actually, for Bayern Munich -1 handicap at 1.83 for just -1. I would have thought this would be more like 1.6, but it's not. Bayern Munich to beat TSG Hoffenheim on a -1 handicap was lower odds than that. Make that make sense. So I'm going to go for Bayern Munich to win 4-0, but I think there's a lot of value to be had in Bayern Munich -1. After this, it is Stuttgart up against Koln. Koln, they couldn't do it for me against Leipzig. Normally, I'd always predict Leipzig against Koln like that, 2-1 to Leipzig. But because of Leipzig's recent poor form, I said, you know what, I'll flip it and go 2-1 to Koln. We did tip both teams to score on the Patreon, which was good, but Leipzig actually went and won, and that is why they're on the no-bet list. But Stuttgart here, big L against St. Pauli. That is poor. That is a poor result for VfB Stuttgart. They've got it in them. I'm going to go for a resounding win for Stuttgart to bounce back another 3-1. The tip is just going to be both teams to score at 1.57. I've learnt my lesson. I'm going to keep it at slightly higher odds than Stuttgart to win, but a nice little parlay piece, both teams to score. After this is Augsburg up against Heidenheim. Heidenheim a loss to 0 against Hamburg is poor. Augsburg losing to Mainz as expected. I think they bounce back here at home, and I'm going for another 2-0 loss to Heidenheim at the bottom of the Bundesliga. And the final game, it is RB Leipzig up against Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg, a good team, but underperforming expectations here. And Leipzig, I mean, you look at their results. 2-1 Koln, that should be expected, but this loss to Mainz and that draw to St. Pauli really put me off. The 3-0 Heidenheim was expected. The 5-1 loss was somewhat expected. The win was expected. That loss was actually expected. So it's really just these two that threw me off for this one. I'm going to say that Leipzig will bounce back and go for a 2-1, but I'm not brave enough to tip Leipzig to win, certainly not at those odds. So instead, I'm going for Wolfsburg to get on the score sheet again like they did against Dortmund. The tip is both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at odds of 1.72. So there is a summary of my picks. I really do like a double of Borussia Dortmund and both teams to score and Bayern Munich -1 handicap. That'll get you odds of about 5. I think that's very good. Lots of goals between Frankfurt, Borussia Monchengladbach, and Hoffenheim Freiburg even. I think Hoffenheim to win's a decent shout. There's a lot of value to be had in the Bundesliga this week, in my opinion. I also want to give a massive shout out to everyone flashing up on the screen after the incredible night last night where we also, like I said earlier, had a result and both teams to score treble come in at 30-1. I woke up this morning and there were 7 new members that joined the Patreon whilst I was asleep from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. 7 new members all in one night. So massive shout out to all of you. If you want a shout out in every single video, access to exclusive members tips and accumulators, you can message me directly, message the group chat, get entrance to giveaways, and of course you get my Liga and predictions as well. Then all you need to do is go to the description or head to patreon.com/thefull90, join up, get involved. I hope to see you over there. But that is going to do it from me. If you did enjoy this video, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one very soon.